I'm Taylor Knight for the Greenwich Sentinel here with State Representative Livvy Floren. Thanks for joining me today.
It's my pleasure, Taylor.
So we'll get started. You are in your 8th term right now.
Mhm.
Why do you enjoy serving the people of Stamford and Greenwich so much?
Well, it's a challenge. Every day is new and different. It's like going to college on a daily basis. You learn something new, and I love the people, I love the process, and the relationships that I've built over the last 16 years. It's fun.
Great, and I see you everywhere in the community. I feel like you're here and there all the time.
Ubiquitous.
Why do you feel that that's important?
Well, I think that's how you learn what's needed. You listen to your constituents, and I guess they call it retail politics. I just call it being a part of the community and knowing the people I serve. And you learn a lot in the grocery store.
What are some examples
Between
of things
the
you learned?
produce and the frozen food, I mean, I can get enough ideas to keep me busy for a whole year proposing legislation.
That's great. And now, can you share maybe some of those ideas that you've gotten while out in the community?
Well, one that I just worked on that I hope we're going to take care of, a gentleman had been having long-term care insurance that he'd been paying for like 30 years, and every year it kept getting more and more expensive, and people wanted to buy out his policy. Well, he wanted it for long-term care. So last year we passed a law saying if the insurance companies were going to increase the premiums, they had to spread it over 3 years, couldn't be more than 20%, right? So what do they do? It's a loophole. They've been raising them 19% for 3 years. So he brought it to my attention, had a public hearing in the insurance committee the other day, and we're going to get it fixed.
Great. And
It's
that's
great. That
just
was one
from
thing.
being out in the community.
Another thing was the traffic problem in Glenville. Somebody in the grocery store told me years ago that we needed a traffic light on the corner of Weaver Street. Well, that only took 10 years, but we got it.
You got it finally.
Yeah.
And now, speaking of transportation, kind of, what's your opinion on the transportation lockbox?
I support it 100%. We have a lockbox now that we put in legislatively. Well, the problem with it is you can open it with a hairpin. It is just got all kinds of holes in it. So the governor, and I totally support him in this, feels that a constitutional amendment will make it a long-term, viable, inviolable lockbox that can be opened. Now, the problem with that is you've got to be very sure what you're putting in, because that's the only way around it. If people change the revenue streams that are dedicated to transportation, what are you going to lock up? You've got nothing to lock up. So anyway, I think it'll go through. The Senate passed it unanimously,
Okay.
and the House lost just by a few votes. So I hope we get the 3/4 in both houses, because then basically it will go on the ballot in November, and then the voters can decide. And I think it will be overwhelmingly approved by the electorate. I really do. If we communicate it well enough so people understand it.
Great. Now, maybe switching gears a little bit. You're a woman in politics.
Mhm.
Can you tell me about that experience, maybe?
Well, I never really thought about it. Women, men, whatever, gender. I do think that the Citizens Election Program, our campaign finance law, has attracted more women to the process, which is good. I've noticed we have more women colleagues. I do think that women tend to collaborate more. They don't have this "I've got to be the toughest guy in the room" mentality, and that's not casting aspersions, but I think we just tend to have a different way of looking at things, and we're more willing to compromise. And the way I look at it, compromise, the root word is promise. And as long as there is promise, you're going to get things done.
Great. And how do you think you've grown in all these terms that you've endured?
That or maybe.
No.
I've learned more. And I've certainly met a lot more people than I ever thought I would ever know. And I've learned a lot more than I did in college and 2 graduate schools. So, I have an MBA, and I did all the coursework for a master's in education. And having reared 4 children, I thought I'd seen it all. Well, I hadn't. So it's been an education, and I love it.
And if people want to contact you, if they don't see you in the grocery store, how can they do that if they have issues?
Just go on a website.
All right. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you. This was fun.
Well, thank you so much. This was State Representative Livvy Floren for the Greenwich Sentinel. I'm Taylor Knight.